Give me just a sec. I'll read your little bio and we will get started.
I'll just dance until we get there.
What's that?
I was like, I'll just dance. I don't dance normally, so that was special. Just for you.
I love it. I wouldn't mind if you danced. I think we're live.
Everyone would mind. Like,
well, I'm not allowed to sing at my house. My son yells at me all the time. Let me
How
make
old
sure.
is he?
He's 12.
Okay, so my 2-year-old tells me that I can't sing. Now, here's the thing. I can actually carry a tune. I'm not, Barbra Streisand by any, stretch of the imagination, but my mother, who cannot carry a tune, I would often tell her to stop singing, and still do as a grown-ass adult whenever I hear her start. This is karma. Like,
no. Exactly. Awesome. Well, Kat and I were just sitting here talking about, chit-chatting about what our kids will and won't let us do, right? And how that sin has been now repeated on us, right? What we used to yell at our parents for, now our kids are yelling at us for. So I am so excited to have my next guest with me today. This is Bold Breakthroughs with Heather Morrison. This is Cat Stancik. She and I met at Kristen Thompson's, I believe, one of Kristen Thompson's event, because she's the amazing rock star connector that she is. So I want to read Kat's bio super quick, and then we will jump right in with questions. So let me move this up and around. And there we are. Now we know we're live. Playback. Okay, Cat, the lead boss. I love that name. The lead boss shows our clients how to invest less than an hour a day to create another 100,000 K in their business in just 90 days. The founder of Action Incubator, multiple best-selling author, and creator of the Lead Boss System, Cat doesn't mess around when it comes to increasing revenue or saving time. Time-crunched entrepreneurs and experts turn to her to scale their business with a simple, strategic, systematic, and proven approach to turn their efforts into a consistent, predictable, organic lead generating machine. They use her process on any platform to hit their biggest revenue goals, maximize their impact. Very small. We prefer you that way. Maximize their impact and increase the time they spend with loved ones, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Welcome, Kat. I'm so excited you're here.
Thank you. I super appreciate it. Yeah, of course, going to extend the compliment to you in terms of being the amazing leader and connector that you also are. So I really appreciate you taking the time to have me on.
Absolutely. So let's dive right in. So Bold Breakthroughs is all about finding out where you came from. Like, what was your journey that brought you to where you are today?
Struggle. So no, everything was on purpose, and whether I realized how it was serving me in the moment, wasn't always clear. But I had to really shift a lot of my thinking from things happening to me to things happening for me. And as women and, a lot of people in the world, there's a lot of things that have happened to us. And so looking at how do we help ourselves grow beyond so that we can lead from the front, which is where we belong. You need to remember, it's a good little little one-liners. I'm known for them. So basically, my story is pretty standard. I maybe not, but basically got my MBA, and I was in these administrative jobs, if you will, and kind of hitting that ceiling, and was never going to be seen more than as an admin, because as much as I had done $5 million in venture funding, had sold a tech company at 26 with a CEO at the age of 26, found a $600,000 deficit in a business and reconciled it, and ran a 3,000 person event with the SBA at 27, by the time I was 27, like, still the fact that I was going to be seen as an admin was just heart-wrenching. So I got my MBA because that was the only way to really break through that ceiling faster, and basically got my high-end corporate consulting gig, the pot at the end of the rainbow, and realized that it wasn't my rainbow. It wasn't my dream that I was living. It was someone else's. And that, since day one, I have always known that I don't belong, I don't fit in, right? And so the only way for me to really claim my freedom when it came to time and money was to really go out on my own. And so I did what any smart entrepreneur does, which is I mitigated as much risk as possible, created a transition plan, and at one point or another said, fuck it, I gotta go. and went out on my own. And when I finally did that, had my best month, had my best quarter, had my best year, had my best, year again and again and again and again. So, really kind of looking at where is that leap of faith, and building enough cushion on the bottom that, that you'll be okay.
Yeah. And I'm really glad that you brought up the point of, you didn't fit in. I think fitting in is so highly overrated.
Do we see what's going on? Like,
And I love it.
Not what I do. And I don't do it subtly either.
Well, and look how much growth you had when you didn't fit in anymore. And I think that especially as women, we try to fit in all the time. And it's a detriment, right? Stand out who you're supposed to be, right? Stop trying to fit in.
Well, I mean, and it's actually one of the things that I'm starting to do with my clients first off the bat. So this is literally an idea that I started working on this morning, and I'm wanting to integrate it, which is, baseball players have their baseball cards and superheroes have their trading cards, right? So why don't we as entrepreneurs have our own superpower trading cards of being like, how do we remind ourselves that we are these amazing, smart, intelligent, capable human beings that every now and then have a hard day, or a client was a little shitty, maybe it was earned or it wasn't earned, or someone else, had their bad day and just redirected their energy on us, doesn't disqualify everything that we've actually done right. Yet we get triggered by that too much or not enoughness, and then the house of card comes falling down. So let's put a card in the game. Let's stack the house so that it's in our favor. And so you have that reminder of, what are your strengths? What's your superpower? What are your capabilities? Identify what your enemies are and your kryptonite is, so that you always know how to get back into that place of power.
Exactly. And I think that we tend to go down the rabbit hole when we tie our internal worth to an external validation. Right? Like,
Yeah,
you have a bad day, and then all of a sudden it's about us. What did I do wrong? What was, it has nothing to do with you, right?
I mean, I have a wall of validation. I'm looking at it now, all these certifications that I needed to. My MBA wasn't just because I wanted to have fun, right? 9 business certifications, but it's not wrong, right? It makes us, feel whole. And then we have to get to that point where we realize that we have to be our own battery. We cannot plug into other people, because that's not sustainable. You're actually going to end up using people in order to be able to fill yourself up. So learning how to energize yourself, how to tap into your own higher frequency is really a skill set. I know we're getting into a little bit of the woo, but it's why certain people get to market and succeed faster, is because they're able to do that for themselves. They market, right? We've all seen poorer products be bought over and over and over again because they had effective marketing, whether it was services or your damn pillow, right? Like, it's your ability to be confident in yourself, to know that you are of value, you are of worth, and it's not tied to how you look or what other people think of you. I mean, sure, we all want to be loved, but in order to receive the love, you have to love yourself first.
Exactly. And I wanted to come back to something that you said. You have to be your own battery. So that is a writer downer for people. If you don't have that, and Kat, if you don't have that in your notes somewhere,
yeah, I do.
That needs to be in your notes somewhere, because that is genius. We do have to be in our own battery. We can't depend on other people to give that energy. I mean, there's a certain amount of energy we can get from other people, primarily, especially if you're an extrovert, right? Yeah. But at the end of the day, that has to come from you. That validation has to come, that external goodness has to come from you. You have to be your own battery. I love that. So what were, it doesn't sound like you had many, but did you have any challenges when you went out on your own?
Sorry, I don't know if you caught my facial reaction. Yes. Like, let me be clear, and I think that right there is the thing, which is so many people who seem up the ladder, right? Or who are up the ladder, look like they are together, that they are super successful, that things are going. Look, I've got 3 kids under 7. My days are not always super happy-go-lucky. I'm dealing with their tantrums and my own, right, on a daily basis. Not daily, but I mean, theirs for sure. But, yes, was there struggle? I didn't know how to sell. I sucked at selling. Actually, I have people coming to me being like, oh my God, you're so great at selling. I want to know more about this and this. In my head, I still don't think that I am. And I know I'm not the world's best seller, but I'm better than someone else. Right? Like, and that's the shift of, I don't need to be the best at anything, but if I'm good enough, then I'm great. right? And so again, going back to that battery thing, but I struggled with how to generate leads. I am the lead boss, and I am the first to tell you that generating leads is hard until it's not.
Mhm.
That's the thing. Everything is hard. We had to learn how to tie our shoes. We had to learn how to swim. We had to learn how to, hell, we had to learn how to breathe. Wait, we had to learn all these things, but where is that childhood determination? Where is that I'm going to do this and there is no other option? That's the place that gets you through those hard times, because everyone's experienced them and you never know to what depth. And so don't worry about it. Not you, Heather, of course, but like, you know, we're not looking for that. We're looking for what is the evidence that demonstrates success, not the evidence that demonstrates that we failed. What angle, what perception are you tuning into? Because whichever one you want to happen is going to happen, but you've got to find the evidence that supports it. And so for me, as I experience these things and continue to experience them, I've had bad launches. I've had emails that didn't convert. I had, critics on the back end. Like, people love sharing their opinions so much, right? Especially when you screw up in an email. Like, oh God, come on, guys. Like, show some grace. Some patience, some love, and a little bit of the golden rule, right? Like, treat other people like you would want to be treated, and where you can, lift other people up.
Yes, genius. Yeah. And have a little perspective, right? At the end of the day, a misspelled word is not going to keep you from getting a client. And if it does, maybe they're not the right client, because if they're going to start out on that foot, they're probably not the best for you. And I
Well, it's
love that.
almost why I went into lead gen as being my thing, because, having done both sides of like looking at the sales, looking at the lead gen and the bridge that, and I kind of think of myself as the bridge that connects marketing and sales, right? So, you could have the worst sales call, but if it's the right lead, it'll still close.
Yes.
But you can
Yes.
have all the sales calls you want in the world, and if they're not closing, it's because you don't have the right person on the phone.
Yes. And I
So
think that comes from an abundance mentality as well, versus that scarcity mentality that if I don't sell this one person, I'm never, my husband's printing something down below the life happens. That if I don't sell this person right now on this one thing, we catastrophize it, right? I'm not going to get any sales. I'm going to lose my house. My kids are going to, and it's like, no, there's so many. And I love how people weed themselves out. The wrong ones weed themselves out, right? Which allows you to see the right people. So,
that's marketing, people, right? So there's a couple of things that you said in there. One, actually, on that topic of chasing, right? I'm actually a book right now. I just co-wrote a book with my co-author Tobin Slavin on experts never chase. So we actually just wrote that book. It's the process to how to you want to be chaseable, meaning you want people to come to you and ask to work with you, but you don't want to be doing the chasing. So what are you doing to position yourself as an authority and an expert online that allows people to gravitate towards you more effectively in a connected way? One of the things I always share, and write this down, is we value the relationship over the transaction. When you value the relationship and see people as human beings, they can say no to you. And you, as an entrepreneur, have the opportunity to turn that no into a yes. And for the most part, what I've seen is if you're not turning more no's into yeses, then you're not going to be able to get to a place where you're getting yeses consistently. That learning of turning no's into yes is your ability to understand what your ideal clients want. How do you communicate the value of your offer, which is where most people make the biggest mistakes, because they're like, hey, I'm going to put all this time and effort and I'm going to build the page and I'm going to optimize it and create conversions, blah, blah. If you have the wrong people coming to it, if you have the wrong leads, then you're putting effort and you're wasting it. And that's one of the things that pisses me off the most, is wasting resources, time, effort, energy, money. That's not my thing.
yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing too is that we need to, and this goes back to what you said in the beginning, that we really need to value who we are and what we offer up. Because if we don't, when we get a couple of no's here and there, then we think I have to scrap the whole mission, right? There must be something wrong with me. There's something, as opposed to, no, you just need to get out in front of the right people and to take a little bit of that maybe as a feedback a little bit. Like if you're consistently getting the same feedback back, maybe you need to look at that and think, oh, maybe I need to tweak something. But I think the first reaction we have is, oh, this is wrong. Everything's wrong. I need to redo all my marketing. I need to,
And part of it might be that, right? I mean, it's just, there's so many foundational aspects that, people don't have in place. And I'm working with people, multiple six figures, and they don't have this thing, and they're growing past 7 and all this. And I look at it and we implement this one little puzzle piece. And then all of a sudden the picture comes together, right? And everything starts working more effective, which is why I look at the process and the system. It's not complicated. Business is not complicated. The reason it feels complicated is because you don't have the knowledge yet. Once you have the knowledge, you improve the skill set, and then it's practice. Once you are able to master it at the 7 and 8 figure level, people are still doing exactly what I'm teaching people how to do. It's just that they're not doing it. They have
Right.
it documented and they've handed it off to people who are able to do it for them. But unless you know how to do it for yourself first, and you have it, and unless you have a shit ton of money to be able to, play with in terms of, failing and having other people learn for you, which typically isn't the case, then you need to do it yourself, because you are empowered by the knowledge and you know exactly what to do and when to do to turn on your client generating machine.
Yeah, I love that. I'd love to ask people what their passion project is right now. You talked about you just finished a book. What else have you got going on? And I'm going to hear a little bit about the book as well. So what's your passion project right now?
You know, my clients, like, I'm actually one of those people who enjoys talking to my clients and engaging with them and, learning the different ways to be able to support them effectively. One of the things I love is being able to identify with my clients what their strengths are and aligning the strategy. So a lot of people are out there teaching, here's the one thing, do a masterclass, do a webinar, do a sales sequence, do a challenge, right? No, it's that may not align to how you want to show up, and it may not be the strategy that your ideal clients actually respond to. So you want to think about, and here's a little hint, think about the time resources that your client has available to you. If you're targeting someone who is higher level, who invests more in their business, which is who I happen to work with more often, I do high ticket sales, they have less time. Do not ask them to spend 3 hours a day with you in a 5-day challenge. They're not going to do it. They're not going to be attracted by it. So you want to make sure that you're aligning the right strategy with the right person. So you align your strengths to the right strategy to attract your right ideal clients. That's why there's a variety of things. So I always look at it as a buffet of how do you want to connect with your clients? How are the different ways you want to have a conversation? So it's your appetizer, it's your entree. Maybe you're like, you're not into like eating meat. Great. We've got vegetarian. Right. And then we've got, how do you close, right? Because you don't ever want to come across as sleazy and salesy. So if you're leveraging a process and a system that doesn't feel empowering, then you're going to come across as sleazy and salesy. So my passion project is what I do. I love what I do, which is why I don't mind doing it, which is why I get, as you can see, very agitated and engaged, not agitated, it's negative, but very, enamored with a thing. So I do have this book that I guess would be my passion project that we actually ran a Kickstarter. And we funded it, and we're currently at 123% of our goal. And I haven't heard of anybody ever using Kickstarter as funding their book.
I haven't either. Genius.
And so our original goal, I'll be honest, was $5,000. So we're at like 67 or something like that, $100. We're going for 7,500. And part of what we're going to do as the people who contribute to the Kickstarter is actually go into how we used Kickstarter, why we used it as a book launch methodology, and how this can be parlayed into your business to be able to do the same for yourself.
Yeah, I love it. And going back to what you said about it's not a one size fits all, right? And I think that a lot of times as an entrepreneur, we look at that. We look at the people that are appearing to perform well, right? We see these gurus online and think, oh, okay, well now apparently the trend is ClickFunnels. I got to do ClickFunnels. I got to build a funnel. And then it changes, right? Because society is fickle and it's cyclical, it changes. And then we figure, oh no, well now I have to go over here and do this masterclass. Oh no. Instead of stopping and meeting with somebody like you who could say, wait a minute, let's just not figure out, that might work for them, but that might not work for your clients. And again, we tend to internalize that. Well, this ClickFunnel worked for this person who's making 8 figures. Why isn't it working for me? Because that's not your client, right? I love this. This is so good.
Well, and you don't know the behind the story. First of all, a lot of those people have staff. They have conversion copy experts, right? They have funnel ads. They're not doing it all themselves. And if you're still in that place where it's you and a small team, or maybe it's still even you, right? Like, you got to compare yourself to the right level. Me comparing myself to Oprah, of course I'm going to set myself up for disappointment. Like, eventually I'll be able to and be like, yeah, babe, like high five, right? Like, let's go have some tea. Just putting it out there, right? But I have to compare myself to where people were when they were where I am at.
Exactly.
Let's compare apples to apples, because when you're doing that, you're just sabotaging yourself. So
Yeah.
why would you set yourself up for failure? Set
Right.
yourself up for, this is what you need to do. Ready? You want to see how far you've come? Look back.
Yeah.
Look, very often we disregard everything we've gone through. You don't have to be 20 steps ahead of your clients. I've even been behind my clients, but I could see in front of them. They couldn't see themselves. Right. So I was talking to a client, the corporate client the other day, and we were talking about him and the hierarchy that he has, the team that he has in place. And I was like, well, you can't see the picture from the frame. And he's like, absolutely. And I said, hey, and you have some partners in the business. Maybe they can see the picture from the frame, but they can't see the gallery. I
Yeah.
can. I
Yeah.
can see what's going on in play, what's over here, what's over there, because I'm not tied and by the fears and the emotions that we as individuals have as part of running our businesses. Because who's got your business best interest at heart? It's not just you, right? Like you've got to have someone else who's just as committed to your success beyond what you might be even for yourself.
And someone who can see your blind spots. You can't see what you can't see, right?
Right. Right. I mean, there's so many times where I'm like, just do these 3 things. Like, please just do these 3 things and you will be amazing and fine. And like, stop turning around. Like, come on, let's go.
Yeah, exactly. And stop comparing the middle of your process to someone else's highlight reel, right?
Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Which is perfect for my branding. Right. So like, I mean,
Exactly.
think about shitty movies, like shitty movies that, you know, you saw the trailer and they literally showed you like the 2 or 3 best parts, and the rest of the movie, like all you needed to have done was seen the trailer and you would have been complete. Yet it was interesting enough that you thought, oh, maybe there's something there, and you were disappointed. So like, you know, understand that all of this is part of the process and in support of you. And if you trust yourself enough to do the work, then you'll get the results. It's not the other way around.
Exactly. Preach. Exactly. This is awesome. So what's a habit that you continue to do that you think has been really instrumental in your success?
Asking for help.
Asking for help.
I have got to know, I know my limitations. And when I get to that point where I'm so frustrated, or I recognize that I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because I know what I'm supposed to be doing, most of us do. And if we're not doing that, then it's time to ask for help. It's time to reach out, because we are not individual, you know, humans. We're not meant to function by ourselves. Look at anyone who's successful and they surround themselves with a team of experts and multiple people, right? Not just 1 or 2, and looking at how do I hire and leverage other people's strengths for my weaknesses, and just stay in my strengths, and then everything else, let other people manage it, because there is somebody out there who loves to do what you hate doing.
Exactly. Exactly. And has already systematized it, right? You're talking about systems. They've already systematized it. They know it.
Right.
It's on autopilot. So looking back, we often ask the question, like, what would you have done differently? But I like to ask people, what is something that you're really glad that you did do in your career?
I'm glad that I had the transition that I did. You know, like I set myself up, you know, did I take longer than I wanted to?
We all did.
Yes. Like I remember and you know, I as much as I hate some of the investments that I made, like not hate them, like I'm just kind of disappointed in the results that I achieved. I see now how they served me. You know, it's always a frustrating experience, and it's one of the biggest motivators that I have in terms of client delivery, because I never want other people to experience what I did when I was in someone else's shitty program, right? None of us have that intention for someone, but really looking at, you know, trusting myself and knowing when it was the right time, and really kind of stepping into that empowered state, and, you know, kind of not dwelling on the regrets, not dwelling on the what ifs, but really kind of leveraging it as a platform to be able to, you know, kind of like, what's those things on the pools? Great. Now I've got words. Not a trampoline, but the diving board, right?
Yeah.
That helps propel you further out, right? And to be able to achieve your results. So, you know, the things that I appreciated was getting the support, relying on other people, understanding that it wasn't a solo mission, and, you know, giving credit where credit is due, like celebrate other people so that you in turn can increase your own ability to receive.
Oh, let's just let that sink in for a minute. Celebrating other people so you can
increase your own ability to receive.
increase your
That's
ability to
because
receive.
that's so, like, just like sidebar moment. I have clients who making multiple six figures and beyond and all that other great stuff, making seven figures and things like that. A lot of them do know what they need to do. And sometimes it comes to this energetic space, right? Where it's, I know what I need to do. I know what I need to do to connect with people. I know what I need to do with having conversations with people. I know what I need to do in terms of having close. I know some of the automation or all of the automation that goes with that. And yet I'm still not achieving the results that I want. And so that's when we start looking at the internal aspect of it, of what frequency are you tuning into? What energy are you putting out into the world? How are you, filling yourself up? Like what self-sabotage mechanisms, right? Like it's why I have it on my player's card, right? Because we have default things that we do unintentionally sometimes and fully conscious of the things that we do that sabotage ourselves. And really looking at, how are we setting ourselves up for success when we do know what we're supposed to do? And a lot of times it comes down, and especially if you have the trigger of I'm not enough or I'm too much, it triggers your ability to receive. If you're over delivering to clients, if you are giving to everybody else before you ever give to yourself, if you're sacrificing constantly, you are actually pushing abundance away. So I would recommend practicing and increasing your receptivity. Look at things like, hey, when someone gives you a compliment, oh, I got it on discount, or, oh, it was only $5 or whatever. Take it in.
Yep.
Here it is. Thank you.
Yep. Receive.
It's one of honestly, one of my favorite thing about my hair. Almost every single time I go out, because I would say every day, but now we don't go out so much, but every time I go out, I get a compliment on my hair. I love it. And I bask in it. And I just, thank you. I don't say anything back. I don't feel forced to have to compliment them in return. I allow them to give to me and receive it completely.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Cause you know how good it feels to compliment someone else, right? Yeah.
So that's why you're pushing abundance away, because you're not even allowing that person to give to you. You're taking away from their ability to actually give to you. And you're basically reinstating and reinforcing the fact that you're not worthy.
Yes, exactly. Oh, this is so good. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I wanted to find out if you had any little snippet or any little thing that you could share with our audience.
I do. So what I have, and it's funny because this isn't going to be available for much longer because I'm going to be switching it out and taking it down because I like to play. I'm a cat after all. So what I have right now is something, and you can get it at fullybooked.ceo. And basically what it includes is how to craft your 1 hour of lead gen. So I talk about being able to maintain your process to be able to generate 100K or more in 90 days or less. So this is exactly what to focus on, because all of a sudden the laundry needs to be folded, or, the kids' room needs to be picked up, or I need to eat again. So this is that hour, how to break that out during the day. Then I also provide you social media swipe to actually get people raising their hands saying that they're ready to work with you. So these are things that you can leverage right now in your business to be able to find some fast leads. And then the third thing that I provide is actually my personal close script. So it's what I walk people through as part of my process on a sales call that gets me over 90% of people saying yes and helps my clients get over 80%. So remember, here's the thing, a no, you can turn that into a yes, right? That's how a lot of people have high close rates, because they're able to hold space and look at someone and say, you are an adult in your business and you can make a decision, and I'm just going to be here. And when they get ready, they'll come back to you because you're consistent in your marketing and your follow-up and your reach out in a place where you're supporting them, that you will be the only person that will continue to stay on their radar and be in high consideration for that yes that they're ready to make.
Yeah. And this is what I love so much about you, Kat, is that it's not, there's that anti-sleaze factor and that anti-bro marketing factor, and you come from such a spirit of service.
Yes.
That's why customers want to come back to you again and again, because they know that you have their best interests in mind, and it's not just a dollar sign on the top of their head, right? It's you want to serve them. And that is very evident in the fact that when I asked you that question, what's your passion project? And you said your clients. That gives me cold chills. That is awesome. I love it. And so where can people connect with you?
So I've got a Facebook community that where I provide additional trainings and support and resources and things like that. And so you can find me at, I believe it's Lead Boss. Just Google Lead Boss, because or else I'm gonna give you a long URL that you might not remember. So if you just Google Lead Boss, my face will show up. You'll see it. It's animated. And join the community there to be able to get some support from me, get some support from other people, and see how you might be able to get bigger results faster for your business.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I have so appreciated it. Kat and I are going to go play out in the sun. She's going to go hang out in her yard. I'm going to go hang out in my yard. And I hope you guys are somewhere doing the same, taking advantage of a little sunshine outside or creating your own sunshine inside. So thank you, Miss Kat. It was such a joy to see you again. It's been a really long time and I so appreciate it. And you go off and enjoy the rest of your day. And thanks again. And everybody grab her stuff before it comes down. I'm telling you, Kat is a rock star at what she does. She knows her stuff. So thank you, Miss Kat. And thank you, Confidence Crusaders. We'll talk to you again next week. Bye. And I have to move the window out of the way. It's always something, isn't it? It's always something.